Jay Gabler, Duluth News Tribune arts and entertainment reporter, back with another special episode of the DNT Minute featuring my column, Front Row Seat. This week I talked to the organizers of Range FanCon. Range FanCon. Defining those terms might be helpful. Range, that would be Minnesota's Iron Range. Fan could mean a fan of anything, but in this context generally means a fan of a franchise or genre centered on stories and expressed through comics, books, movies, TV shows, or games. Think fantasy, science fiction, anime, superheroes, and even real-world history like medieval combat or Regency romance. Con is a good thing. It's short for convention. We really wanted to make sure we're not saying this is just for people who like Star Trek or this is just comic books, said Range FanCon co-founder Rochelle Cole. If you like anything, we're like, let us know. Maybe we'll have it there. It's an art gallery, said co-founder Stephanie Wickloch. There's panels, there's demonstrations, there's trivia. You can get involved. There's gaming, there's networking. Cole and Wickloch spoke with me last week at the News Tribune, along with Lyric Center for the Arts Executive Director Paul Gregerson. The three were in Duluth for a Costco run and to talk about what a news release called the big debut of Range FanCon. While this year's event, taking place Saturday at the Mountain Iron Community Center, marks a milestone, FanCon has been growing for several years after beginning as part of the Virginia Public Library Summer Reading Program. First came the Virginia Public Library Comic-Con in 2017. In 2018 and 2019, it was called ReadCon to signify a broader range of interests. Last year, it became FanCon, and now it's Range FanCon. So what's new this year, besides the name? The event will be bigger, and for the first time, it will be independent of the library. There's no beef with the library, where Wickloch and Cole work. The event simply outgrew its origins and was ready to take on a life of its own. We were like, we need people to help this grow, explained Wickloch. We need a committee, echoed Cole. Libraries don't have promotional funding for this kind of stuff. That's where Gregerson and his organization came in. The Lyric Center, Discover the Range, and Revive Virginia are all supporting this year's gathering. The Lyric is involved in a range, so to speak, of local events, but Gregerson said FanCon is unique. We don't get calls or emails like we do for this, said Gregerson. How can I help? I'm emailing from the Twin Cities. We plan on coming up. Those types of things. We're going to get a lot of traffic out of town. Guests will include Jeff Wheeler of Mindwave Comics, a publisher based in Minneapolis. Members of Duluth's Shire of the Inner Sea will be on hand in medieval costume, and the 501st Legion will attend as well. That group is also devoted to historical reenactment, specifically the history that happened a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. I always wanted to get the 501st, said Wickloch with delight. Cosplay, or dressing as characters from familiar stories, is a big part of the con experience. The coming in costume is where you really see the passion, the creativity, said Wickloch. I remember from our very first one, we had a lady come with her two kids who were dressed up in a Spirited Away outfit. They were just stunning costumes, and they were having the time of their lives. Everybody has childlike wonder when they go to these kind of things, said Cole. It's all about inclusivity. One of the first stereotypes that you think about when you think of the Iron Range is hockey, said Gregerson. You can be into art, you can be into sports, you can be into more than one thing. Fan conventions date back to gatherings organized as the golden age of science fiction dawned in the 1930s. They proliferated as fan communities grew up around comics, TV shows, and role-playing games, and by the 1970s, the biggest cons were marquee events. While some local fans may travel to huge events in New York or San Diego, not everyone is able to do that, and it's meaningful to have a local gathering where Northland fans can meet. There's a whole community out there of people of all ages who want to come out and do something like this, said Gregerson. It's fun to have people come from all the communities across the range, from Virginia, Eveleth, Chisholm, Hibbing, all the way to Grand Rapids up to Ely, and then people from Duluth, from the Twin Cities. In future years, organizers hope to turn Range FanCon into a multi-day event, and to attract even bigger names. Chris Pratt is very popular because he's in the movies right now. He's in Guardians of the Galaxy, Gregerson pointed out. He was born in Virginia. While video games, streaming TV, and of course books helped fans engage and escape during pandemic lockdowns, recent years have seen a major comeback of in-person games like Dungeons & Dragons. Until we started having D&D books available at the library, we didn't know there were that many D&D players in the area, said Cole. We've got people who love video games, and I'm sure they play with people online around the world, but there's somebody probably in the backyard they can hook up and play with, Cole added. This is like giving people a chance to say, hey, there's somebody else who's going to like what I like too. I'm not alone. That's this week's column. I'll be back next week with some thoughts on book bans. Until then, I'm Jay Gabler, Duluth News Tribune.